Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Winding down the Lexus LX470 project. Looking really good inside and out. I want to address today the engine bay compartment. Now, strange yet as it may seem, as bad as the condition that everything else was, the interior, the paint, some parts of the undercarriage, the engine compartment is actually pretty well preserved and not really that awful is the best way I can describe it. But it does need to be freshened up a little bit, and I'm going to share my process with this particular vehicle today, because I approach every single make, model, and year differently when it comes to the engine bay. So let's get started. The 2UZ FE needs to be spruced up just a little bit here and there. And now this is getting back to a point in the early 2000s where a lot of things are bare, and even if they were made to be sealed from water or watertight, we do not want to test those seals as they are aging. So we're going to use a dry moisture, if that makes sense. We're going to clean this area up here. We're not going to get too aggressive with that. That's approaching 20 years old as well. You don't want to go scrubbing on that with a brush. And you don't want to hit this with a pressure washer. So let's walk over to the table here. Just some of the stuff that we're going to be using today. Your B or C tier towels. That's Megashine I've been using for years when it comes to the engine compartment. Dressing and conditioning every single material. This stuff looks fantastic. It does a great job. Detailing brush, of course, our dry foamer, which we're going to be putting the Kraken in, and we're going to be using a rinseless wash as well. Sometimes with these engine compartments, and if they're in decent shape, you can get away with easily cleaning them with just a rinseless wash, waterless wash. However, there are some areas that are just a little bit stubborn, and we'll break out the Kraken for that. We are going to dilute Kraken in here 5:1, fill it up with warm water. This is an air foamer that hooks up to your air compressor, and I'll show you how to use it. Let's get started. The first step for me is going to be a little bit of compressed air. Sometimes you get some pine needles or some leaves or some very light dust and dirt stuck up under the apron here, under the hood. Compressed air. Leaves again, pine needles, loose dirt, debris, anything that's loose that we can blow free from the compartment. That'll be the first step. The next thing I'm going to address is the apron and the underside of the hood. And for that, I'll use Phoenix Edo D Hydra. I have that mixed up, 256:1 in this handy dandy sprayer. And we'll dampen up the apron a little bit so we can wipe that dirt free, and then the metal edges around as well. They have some designs in here, don't match anything that's under the hood. I don't know what that's for, but in the corners they have gathered some dirt, so we're just very carefully going to try and massage the light dust and dirt out from those edges without really disturbing the material on the apron, which at this point is going to be getting quite fragile. And I'll just grab an old microfiber and wipe down the rest. Even though it may seem like it didn't need it, it well enough needed it. And the rest of this engine compartment as well. That's taken care of. That looks very good. Cleaned safely. Now let's hop down to the engine compartment itself. Guys, if you were hell-bent on getting a pressure washer in here, let me point out the areas on this particular vehicle that you would want to protect. The battery and the posts. This is your fuse box. And the top doesn't fit very tight. There are quite a few connectors. Again, they may have been watertight at one point. I wouldn't test them. Your alternator is down there. Protect that. And you have all these solenoids on the wall of the inside of the fender well as well. Something to keep an eye on, something to cover with plastics if you can. Now we can come in with our dry foam mix, which is Kraken 5-to-1. And we spread that out in this compartment. And we don't have to rush. It's a dry foam. It's not going anywhere. You can come in and wipe it, mop it up immediately. You could take a detail brush and agitate some of the worst areas. And that's all there's going to be to it with this compartment and this mixture here. I really love the dry foam. I love keeping moisture out of the engine bay when humanly possible. I very, very, very rarely take a pressure washer under the hood here. A lot do and feel comfortable with it. Not for me. I'm not going to do it. So let's hit it with the dry foam. So this is a very light, frothy, fluffy foam. Not a whole lot of moisture here at all. Let me give you a demonstration here. This is, I don't feel anything, hardly any moisture whatsoever. So we'll just let it dwell on there, let it do its thing, break up some muck, dirt, grime. We'll agitate a little bit, we'll mop up a little bit, we'll wipe it off a little bit, and we'll move on to the next step. What's nice about Kraken diluted 5-to-1 is it gets the job done without staining the plastics, hurting any materials under here. Your older classics and antiques. The materials underneath the hood will be safe. Using it this way as well. Here in a shop setting, just take your time and work at the worst areas. If you were outside, if you weren't sheltered, it was breezy and very warm, well, you would have to speed up the process as this foam that's already dry enough will dry up on you. I would then recommend just doing a mop-up job from there. Just a real pleasure to work with. That's really all I need to do. I'll start wiping up from here. Grab my lower tier towels and start to mop this up. Don't worry about little corners, cracks and crevices where you can't fit your towel in. I'll show you what to do there to get that foam out and any dirt that it has broken down with it. Just get what you can reach without ripping up your hands and your fingers on some of these sharp hose clamps and everything else that's in the engine bay. Get to the back of the firewall here. That's a little dusty. Reach what you can. And then what we have left over, some of the cleaner stuck in those corners that are hard to reach with a towel. So we'll just use forced air and work that out. Because you want it to be completely dry for the next step anyway. Much better under here, but there are still some things I need to address before the last step. Some overspray here. I believe there's some on the other side. And we need to find something to get this off that gets it off, but doesn't damage the plastic, which is just a painted thin plastic cover. So let me see what I can find. Good old reliable Citral 266 citrus cleaner for that area. I sprayed it. I let it sit for about 3 minutes or so. We'll come in with an old microfiber. And we see that it indeed cleans the plastic cover without damaging its silver color. Both sides nice and clean. Fresh looking again. What do you think, shop manager? Well, she's just thinking about the inside of her eyelids. Well, time for the cherry on top. The last step. Good friends, I think I've been using the Manette's Mega Shine under the hood for many, many years. Very happy with it. It's a special way I like to use it. I like to use it full strength, spray it on the entire compartment, and then walk away. Come back a couple hours later. It seems to self-level, has a nice even look on every single material, plastic, rubber, belts, hoses, metal, wires, cables, and just makes it look conditioned and protected under the hood. So let's get started. Missed it on everything. And for an even look, you want to walk around, get all sides of the battery and the hoses, air boxes, for complete coverage. And right now, it just looks like milk running off the top of the engine. Let that go for a couple hours, walk away. Come back, it's going to be more evenly spread out, and anything left over, just dab it with a towel. You come back a little bit later, looks good, but it'll have some buildup hanging in the corners and the recesses. And all you do is grab a microfiber and mop up what you can. You don't have to get every single drop because it will dissipate on its own. And in really no time at all, not that much of an effort, everything under here is looking fantastic. Better than new, not overly greasy, and every single material has been cleaned, treated, conditioned, protected responsibly. A very enjoyable process, guys, done responsibly and safely. And this is the way I treat this engine compartment, and I will approach each and every one differently, especially as we come upon different years, makes, and models. And if I go about it a different way, I'll get some footage and show you how to take care of that particular vehicle. Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. If you have any questions at all or any comments to make, down in the comments section. I read them all. I enjoy them. I like the connection that we got, and I look forward to every video and spending some time with you. And I'll catch you in the next video.